How do you create content that dances? And why the dance metaphor? Hi, this is Carma Spence, and in today's final segment of my interview with Sarah Schwab, the content creation coach, we talk about what our favorite content types are, and we get into how writing is a lot like dancing. Now, do you have a favorite type of content that you favor for yourself and for your clients? Because those might be two different things.
They might be two different things. My first, and so therefore sort of close to my heart form of content is blog articles.
Mhm.
It really started when I lived in Switzerland for a year.
Wow.
And I wrote a blog mostly to document the experience and for family and friends and whatever to keep up with this. And it was a really powerful experience. And what I loved about it is that over time it evolves. So each blog article is a piece of content. It's a work of creativity in and of itself. But when you look at the blog after a year or 6 months or however long, it almost takes on a life of its own. And you can look back and say, I remember that one, and look how it's changed from here. And now I can do that with my business blog, which I've been doing for almost 4 years. And now I have a client that I've been working with for over 2 years, almost 3 years actually. And we can do that with her blog. Look back at, remember when we wrote this one, and now we can repurpose these, or maybe we can do other exciting things over time. So I don't know if that answers your question. I do love blog articles, and I love nurturing content in general for that reason, because there's really an evolution that happens with it, as opposed to the one-time catalysts, which are cool for their own reasons, but the growth that you can see and the things that you can do with nurturing content over time, I think are really exciting.
And you can repurpose it. I mean, I've created books out of blog posts, and I've done it in two different ways. I've taken a bunch of blog posts and created a book. And then the book that's coming out next, it was one blog post that inspired an entire book. So
wow. And see, I'm hoping to do well. So my book was also a compilation of my business blog, or a result of my business blog, really. And then I'm planning on doing a podcast, and I'm already envisioning a book coming out of the first season of my podcast. And so, yeah, the topic of repurposing content is super exciting, but it does require that consistency.
It does.
That repurposing opportunity happens when you're creating content on a regular basis.
So the title of your book is Content That Dances. Why the dancing metaphor?
So that's something that people who know me are familiar with. Dancing is near and dear to my heart. I've been a dancer since I was young. I danced all through college and even into adulthood, and ended up taking a break from it for a while when I had young kids and, life and career and husband and busyness. And I reconnected with it a couple of years ago, and am just so reinvigorated and alive. I love what it brings to me, and it's my favorite form of creative expression.
Right.
And so the reason I tie that in to my book title and sometimes to my work is to that point that we were talking about earlier. When you're building relationships through content, you've got to share yourself and share something that is uniquely you, or that you are passionate about or get really excited about. And so for me, that's dance, but I'm trying to model that so that other people can say, what is that thing for me that I can also share?
That's great. I mean, I've also been in love with dance since I was a little kid. I sucked at it as a little kid, though. I took ballet and tap, and I really sucked at it. I didn't really come into my own as a dancer until my 20s, when I took belly dance, of all things. My body just knew how to do that. And so I really reconnected to it. But I've watched dance movies, but anyway, that's beside the point. Dance is a form of communication. So I talk a lot about speaking. And something I learned as a dancer is that sometimes stillness is exactly what you need. I use that as an analogy to talk about silence, pauses when you're talking. So I was just wondering if there was like a connection there too, because I could see that. I could see how the dance of words.
Yes. And so in the book, I use dance metaphors like that to describe a lot of things within content. I think there's so many similarities or correlations that can be drawn that way. And I have to tell you.
So completely off topic, what kind of dance are you into?
So this new phase of my dance life is ballroom. A couple of years
Ah.
ago, I was at a fundraiser and I won some free lessons at a ballroom studio, which is totally different than the kind of dance I had grown up doing. I've just fallen in love with it. And it's partially because it's a whole new world, new things for me to learn. That interaction where I'm now dancing in partnership with another person adds this whole other element of communication and connection and partnership and all of that, which I absolutely love.
And as you were saying this, I realized that that's what a lot of this nurturing content is. It's a dance with a partner you can't see.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. It's so true. And you have to be the leader and invite them to follow along.
Exactly. And at the same time, you have to understand where they're going so that you can lead them in a way that resonates with them while still being authentic to who you are.
Oh, Carmen, you're awesome.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
So, is there anything I haven't asked you that you'd like to share?
So I talk sometimes about mistakes that people make when it comes to content.
Okay.
And one of them is there's a couple things. Can I run through a couple of mistakes that people
Yes,
make?
absolutely.
So one of them is not promoting their content. Creating it is one thing, and that's really where my expertise and passion is. But you can't just create it and then maybe put it on your blog page, on your website. I even know people who've created stuff and it's sitting on their computer. They've never actually done anything with it, right? And so actually getting it out there and then promoting it, getting it in front of people, that is the whole point. That's when the magic can happen. If you don't connect the content creation with the promotion and the marketing and the eyeballs, then you're not going to see the results that you want to see. So that's number one. The other one is creating bland content. We've kind of talked about that a little bit. We want to build that relationship, making it personal, making it interesting, making it different. There's so much content out there, and that's one of people's hesitations is I'm not going to say anything new that people can't already find somewhere else. But you can say it in a way that only you can say it. And so that's your job, is to bring yourself to it, bring your unique take to it, your unique spin to it. That's one of the things that makes engaging content and not bland content that's the same as everything else. But of course, the number one mistake is simply not creating content at all. It's so powerful. It's necessary if you want to be out, particularly online, attracting people. You've got to be sharing value. You've got to be having something to give for them to find. It's no longer the world of sort of brochure websites. You've got to be creating content. So think about the question I always love to ask people, and I'll end with this, is what are you creating next to grow your business?
Just a comment about the bland content. I suspect that a lot of people start off there because they're still finding their voice. It's like they haven't figured out who they are and how it fits with their content. Because I look back at some of my business blog I've been doing for, I've been probably 10 years. And some of that original content is just like, oh, yawn. And it's because I didn't infuse who I was into it. And as over time, you can see I am becoming more and more a part of the content. And that's how it eventually evolved to where my content is almost all video now.
Awesome. Awesome.
And then I translate it into text and audio so that everyone can consume it how they like. But it starts off as video because then I can just be me. And if you don't like me, don't come back.
Yes. Oh my gosh, there's so much in what you said just now, but you're a perfect example of how this evolves. And so first, don't be afraid to start. When you start, it won't be perfect. It won't be the most exciting thing in the world. There's ways to help you do the best, but it will evolve. And that's fantastic. I actually think it can drive, depending on how people resonate with it, what you find that you really like, what happens, it can be a driver in your business and that takes things in another direction that maybe you didn't even expect. So I find that really exciting.
Exactly. So if someone wanted to work with you or learn more about you, how would they go about doing that?
The best way is to just head to my website, which is contentcreationcoach.com. And like we've talked about, I've got blog articles and resources, an ebook, and all sorts of things for people to find there, as well as even a way to schedule a time to chat with me if you'd like to chat on the phone. So I look forward to hearing from everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on to the Weekday Wisdom.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this 4-part series of my interview with Sarah Schwab, and I hope that it gave you some good, solid information that you can use as you move forward to create content. Because remember, you've got to think outside that box. You got to spread your wings and fly because you, yes, you right there, are capable of more than you know. And that includes creating amazing content that will attract your ideal clients. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and let me know in a comment below. I'll see you next week on the Weekday Wisdom.